When my wife abandoned me to find herself, I thought she might come crawling back as if nothing had happened. A month after she left, I went to a lawyer, expecting some guidance. I had been waiting, hoping she'd return. The lawyer told me that, for now, there wasn't much to do except change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. So, I did. Amazing, right? Now, if I die alone while she's out there living her adventures, she gets nothing. It had only been a month, and there was no way to serve her divorce papers. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and car payments, as the cost of getting a judge to approve selling joint assets was higher than just maintaining the payments. I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting one of our cars get repossessed, but I couldn't sell it since her name was still on the title. Occasionally, I get random texts from her, and she sporadically posts on Instagram. Of course, she has the comments turned off. I want to block her so badly, but my lawyer advised against it. It's better to maintain some line of communication, as long as it's not through our kids. Her last post was from Hawaii. She even had the nerve to put in a caption how I was a great husband for letting her take this trip. Meanwhile, I'm barely making ends meet, paying for 2 cars, a mortgage, household bills, and insurance, with no savings to fall back on. And she's out there enjoying our trip. I can't believe she's doing this to me. I'm so angry at her. I helped take care of her mom for 4 years, and when she fell apart after her mom moved into memory care, I was there. And how does she repay me? By abandoning me. I'll never get to take this trip, and now I have to put off my retirement. The only solace I have is that the kids are angry with her too, though they'll probably forgive her eventually. But I'm not naive. I know her. I know she's out there hooking up with other men. She looks good and won't have any trouble finding someone. I even texted her, asking if she was sleeping around. A week later, she responded, saying she wasn't. I rolled my eyes at that. Here I am, drinking alone on a Friday night while she's probably on a beach, living it up. I'm certain she believes she can come back and continue the marriage like nothing happened. She's had a few conversations with our daughter and seems convinced that I'll understand and forgive her. But she only hears what she wants to hear. I asked her to send me an address so I could serve her the divorce papers. She only replied that we'll work things out when she comes home. The hell we will. My daughter has tried telling her how much pain she's causing, but my wife just brushes it off, saying she only has 5 to 10 years left until she might get dementia. It's impossible to know if she'll even develop it, but shouldn't she want to spend these years with her family instead of out there living like this? A month has passed since then, and I'm starting to feel more positive. The financial situation is a little more manageable now. Basically, I'm running up some debt that I plan to pay off when I sell the house. Even with the lawyer fees, I have 6 to 8 more months before I really need to worry about money, assuming there are no emergencies. One of my friend's wives gave me some good advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I speak about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my children. I don't care about my wife anymore, but I don't want to make her a sympathetic figure and risk alienating my kids from both of us. I followed up with the lawyer. She told me we're going to make sure my wife pays back the savings she took, likely through a reduction in her share of the assets. Any division of assets will include what she took from the savings account. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There's plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. My lawyer said that after nearly 25 years of marriage, our finances are so intertwined that my wife is still going to get some share of the assets. The best case scenario is that she agrees to the terms of the divorce, and it's relatively cheap and quick. Otherwise, it'll get complicated and expensive. The lawyer gave me several options and estimates for how much it could cost, so I decided to mostly wait things out. I got a couple of credit cards with promotional rates for purchases and balance transfers, which gives me some breathing room and allows me to conserve cash. I'll pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying her being gone. I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to cook, clean, or take care of anyone, and the house is quiet for the first time in forever. I loved my wife, but her mental health weighed heavily on our marriage. Overall, it was worth it until now. During the first month or so, I still expected her to be there when I got home. Whenever someone was at the door or I heard a noise, I thought it was her. I even checked the doorbell cam obsessively. But now, I'm not looking forward to her return. Eventually, it will happen, and when it does, I'll have to deal with her, the divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing our stuff, and finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she stays away until after New Year's, but my daughter thinks her mom will be back for Christmas, either to stay or just to visit. My lawyer will have the papers ready to serve her by then, and I hope she'll just agree to the terms and continue her travels. Some people I talked to gave me useful advice. One person suggested renting or selling the house, but that's not really feasible right now. I'd need to fix a few things and get it ready to sell or rent out. Plus, I still need a place to live, and the added costs of living elsewhere and storing my stuff wouldn't be worth it. My kids' rooms are still full of their things, and I don't want to spend the time or effort clearing them out. Another great suggestion was getting a home equity line of credit, HELOC. I didn't realize I didn't need both of us to get the loan. But for now, the promotional rates on the credit cards are cheaper and easier than getting a HELOC. Serving my wife divorce papers, or even getting a divorce in absentia, is something I may need to do eventually. But the legal fees for that are steep, so I'm comfortable waiting for now. Someone else advised me to look at the phone bill to track where she might be going. I did check her usage and noticed that she doesn't post on social media until after she leaves a place. For instance, when she posted about Hawaii, she had made a call that day from Los Angeles. She posted about a cruise, and by checking the dates, I figured out that I might be able to serve her at the port. But she removed her phone from our account after I blocked her attempt to add international calling. She's told her family she won't be home for Thanksgiving, but nobody told her that my daughter and I will be spending Thanksgiving with her family. She'll see the posts of us having a great time without her. Someone asked me if she's just planning to blow through all her money and then assume I'll take her back and care for her when dementia hits. Honestly, knowing her, that's probably her plan, but it's not mine. Months later, in the middle of December, my wife texted me saying she'd be home for Christmas. I told her that our daughter and I would be at my brother's, and she wasn't welcome. I'd leave her car in the driveway and the key fob in the backyard, but she wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there. When we returned from spending Christmas at my brother's, I met with her. I decided not to be overly confrontational. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be mad. She seemed taken aback by how detached I was. It clearly bothered her that I didn't show much emotion, not even anger. All I wanted was for her to agree to a divorce. This summary reflects several different meetings, both with and without our daughter present. My daughter still doesn't want to meet with her mom alone, and I don't blame her. I asked my wife why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year, and she didn't want anyone talking her out of it. She didn't want to work anymore, and she wanted to leave before her mental health got worse. But I'm sure the real reason was that she didn't want me stopping her from taking the money. She knew I would handle everything with the kids in the house once she left. We had originally planned to go traveling together in the summer of 2024. We agreed to wait for a few reasons. We wanted to pack and get the house ready to sell. We wanted to make sure our daughter graduated college and got a job, and we wanted to ensure we had enough money saved up since we wouldn't have a house, cars, or jobs when we returned. Our intention was to have no worries or mess to deal with when we got back. But at some point in our planning, my wife began questioning whether she wanted to return to our old life at all. She didn't want to work full-time or buy another house and settle down. She wasn't sure what she wanted, but she didn't think she'd figure it out by talking to me. I reminded her that the whole point of our trip was to figure those things out together, to see what we wanted for the next stage of our life. I asked her why she didn't just get a divorce before she left. She wouldn't have had to do all this behind our backs, and she would have had plenty of money without draining our joint savings. She claimed she didn't want a divorce, that she wanted us to live whatever life she eventually figured out. I told her that's not how marriage works. One person can't make all the decisions for the other. After talking to our daughter, her family, and reading my texts and voicemails, she began to realize I might not forgive her. And she was right about that. She started to visualize a future without me. At this point, I half expected her to say something ridiculous, like she was going to spend all her money living in a van and making travel vlogs, or that she met some guy she needed to wire money to so they could open an ice cream shop in Alaska. Instead, she said she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time remotely and living in different places. She tried to convince me to go with her, but I'll never trust her again. Plus, I don't love her anymore. The idea of traveling like that for a few years doesn't sound terrible, but she doesn't have a job lined up, and she's not in her 20s anymore. That kind of lifestyle will get old fast with no close friends or family around. Honestly, I want her to make it work, just so she won't come back, trying to reinsert herself into our lives. As for how the kids are holding up, our son wouldn't have seen us much while she was gone anyway. He only responds to her with short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he used his deployment as an excuse, saying he was too busy. Living in the barracks makes it easy for him to avoid her. My daughter, on the other hand, has stopped talking and texting her altogether. At first, she was worried about her mom,
Prop test with break.
breakdown, and that her mom was just being selfish. Her worry turned to anger. If her mom was sticking around and willing to work things out, I think they could probably get through this eventually. But right now, my daughter's upset, and I just care about her being happy.
0A.
In the end, my wife spent around half.
T1D4.
I think she realized she needed to figure things out before she completely ran out of funds. Some friends have wondered if she slept with anyone during all this, but honestly, at this point, I don't even care. I didn't ask her if she slept with anyone because I didn't care. Asking would imply that I still wanted her back, or that it even mattered. Even though I didn't bring it up, she claimed she hadn't cheated. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. Maybe she's just saying it to avoid giving the kids another reason to be mad at her. Another friend asked if she felt bad about what she'd put us through. She said she did and wished she'd handled things differently, but still insisted that getting away and figuring herself out was the best decision for her. I told her she was just being selfish. When she first left, we were worried something bad had happened to her, that we might never see her again. She's always been self-centered, and I told her she's taking the easy way out, leaving everyone else to handle the difficult parts. If she gets sick, she'll expect the kids to take care of her. If she goes broke, she'll expect to live with family. She thinks that abandoning everyone will be forgiven, just like that. She's probably imagining a future where she moves in with one of her siblings or with our kids, just like her mom moved in with us. But I told her, things aren't going to be the same. The kids might not be there for her the way she imagines. Despite everything, I'm actually pretty happy with how things turned out. Our divorce isn't final yet, but we've agreed on most of the big things. We'll sell the house and split the retirement funds and profits from the sale. She'll pay back what she took from our savings, as well as what I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement, and soon she'll be mostly out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and because she's choosing to make significantly less money now, I won't be forced to support her. That would have been a real insult. She's no longer my responsibility, and I won't be the one caring for her if she does get sick or ends up broke. With all of that behind me, I've started thinking about dating again. I didn't realize that being a 50-year-old man with grown kids, a decent job, and in good shape would make me a catch, but I've had more interest from women than I expected. I'm not beating them off with a stick or anything, but it's been kind of nice meeting new people. I've worked out the numbers, and after everything is settled, I'll be in a good spot financially. Only having to support myself feels like a huge relief. This isn't where I thought I'd be at 50, divorced and writing all this as a sort of therapy, but I'm happier now than I've been in a long time. I'm even planning a little vacation of my own. Just to clarify, I'm not looking for anyone under 30 to 35, and I don't want someone with kids or who wants kids. There's nothing wrong with that, but I've already raised mine. Anyway, thanks for listening.